I'd like to say good afternoon and welcome to the Liberian Dream. Oh, we prophesy o'er our nation that she will rise, she will shine, and will take her rightful place in Africa, yea, the world. This is again the Liberian Dream with Pastor Lawrence Kennedy. We're broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia, but to have the beautiful executive mansion in the background, it is so inspiring. It's all inspiring. We'd like to say welcome to this program. And wherever you are throughout the world, some of you are listening as far as Australia, I pray that there is a dream that's in your heart concerning our nation, and I challenge you to keep the dream alive. You are a portion of the answer. You carry a piece of the answer to Liberia's puzzle. You're special, you're included. You know, there's no Liberian that's insignificant. We're all very significant. We bring in, whatever we have, let's bring to the table. Let's do what we can while we can, with the opportunities and open doors that we have. Again, welcome to the Liberian Dream program. I have a very special guest with me. That's from the mother's land, the motherland, from the soil. We have with us this day Dr. Charles K. Moba from the Cotton University in Liberia. That's up in Swakoko, Bong County. Dr. Moba, we'd like to say welcome. We're so privileged to have an educator in our midst as our special guest.
Well, thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Amen. Now, you're going to do almost all of the talking today because, Cuttington, there's just something about Cuttington. I remember I was yet in high school about to graduate, but we had a very good basketball team, Monrovia College, and you had the Masons ball club up Cuttington, and we played them. And, we won them, just in high school, but we had some of the nation's finest basketball player, and our basketball season was just about to start. So those were preseason games. And so we went back to Monrovia all hyped up, that we won Buffet High School because they had a real good basketball team as well as Masons of Cuttington. And so to have a Cuttington professor, we just like to say welcome again. Thanks for honoring this invitation that you're here. But just tell us, Doc, some of what you're doing in Liberia, what's happening on the grounds, Don't be in a hurry to stop. Just give us. Because we always share just the ugly, you being there because you were educated in these United States. Would you just tell us a little bit about your background, your education, where you went to school in America and everything?
Well, I'm happy to share with you some of my experiences and where I went to school. But first of all, I want to say that the comment you're making about the Mason, I'm a Masoner. I was a Mason. I'm happy that at least we were able to play with you at those times. But I am a graduate of Cotton University. I did chemistry at that university before coming to the United States to study. At that time, I was very lucky that I would receive a scholarship to go on to the University of Tennessee, where I've got a master's degree, and eventually went back to Liberia and worked for a few years, and then came back to the United States of America, Louisiana State University, where I got a PhD in soil chemistry.
LSU.
Yes.
Oh.
So I'm an alum of LSU. But one of the good things that happened to me is during those years of my studies, I was blessed with knowledge and the people who gave me ideas as to what I can do to share what I have learned. One of the programs I was on was known as the Hunger Program. The scholarship I went on was scholarship sponsored by another denomination, the Methodist Church, called the Hunger Program. And the purpose of that was to train young Liberians to return after their studies and work with their own people. And I'm proud to say that since those years that I spent here and I haven't gone back to Liberia to start working with young people, one of the most important things that's happening in Liberia at this time is that there is much more interest in learning at all levels. But one of the major areas, which is my basic area, which is agriculture. This is where my talk will be centered around today. In the agricultural sector, we see that Liberia has a lot of land and a lot of resources, but those resources need to be developed so that the people of Liberia can use them wisely. One of the best things that happened to us is that we got friends in the world who are geared to helping us realize our own dreams. Our Liberia wants to develop and to build its agricultural sector. So there's a program sponsored by USAID known as the Excellence in Higher Education for Liberian Development. This program has two components, one of which is an engineering program at the University of Liberia. The second is an agricultural program based at Cottington University. I'm the agricultural advisor to that program. And one of the best things that's happening in that program is that we have, prior to that program coming in, the Cottington University had about 150 students enrolled at that institution to do agriculture. Since the inception of that program, the enrollment has gone up to 600 and climbing up, 690 and plus climbing up. And what is important?
You mean just to do agriculture?
Yes.
Wow.
The enrollment in the agriculture program went from 150 to over 600 plus and is climbing. That makes us happy because a lot of young people are interested in an area that is beneficial to the development of Liberia. Where agriculture, without agriculture, you can't feed your people, you have to rely on inputs, and the amount of your resources, money that you use otherwise would have be shipped out of the country. So we are happy that that program came through, and one of the wonderful things about that is that not only that program is there, but it has attracted a large number of females. Right now in the College of Agriculture, we have almost a 50-50 balance between the male and female program students, which is great. And one of the challenges we have in that program is that uh, we have to develop the basic concept of how agriculture should be uh, practiced, and not only to go out there and just produce something, but you have to teach how to manage agriculture. So one of the major parts of the program is that of entrepreneurship. In addition to just learning how to grow crops, the students are being taught how to develop a business plan, how to go about and come up with ideas that can help develop, produce things, but not only produce it, but how do you market that? Because without those place to sell your market or your products, your agricultural production is useless. So that is one of the things. But let me tell you more about the program. The agricultural program there, as I said, is higher or excellence in higher education for Liberian development. Has three pillars. When it first started, the first pillar had to do with uh, selling the program to the Liberian people and especially the youth. So that program started with us going out to the various high schools in the country and talking about agriculture engineering to the students. And then with that, we brought some of those students who are interested in that program to have a week long, or for the first time, it was a week long seminar to tell them more about the program. And then after that, we had a 6-week program where the students came and learned both to practice and do math and English and few of the smaller skills, lower skills that they lacked in the high schools. After then, they will then apply for the program. We offer a scholarship to these students, so that is encouraging them to enter the program. The second phase of the program had to do with infrastructure development of the program of the institutions both at University of Liberia and Cottington. Our program at Cottington, we are there to develop the classrooms. Also, our classroom right now have overhead projectors where instructors have ability to just project their notes on the. We have a resource center where all of our notes are put on the server. Students have access to it. After a lecture, the faculty carries it to that place and then it's downloaded. Students have access to it anytime. So we are just listening to the classroom. They can go in there and do it. We have over 400 or more, or 4,000 or more books on the server that students have access to.
Wow.
With the lack of textbooks,
Mm-hmm.
we have resources on the computer that students can access all the notes that they need. So that is a good part of the program. So we developing the labs, agricultural labs. We have a soil lab. We have an animal science lab. We have also a natural resource management program, which also we are going to develop another lab for that. So the third part of the program is the outreach, which is developing partnerships with the various agricultural entities in Liberia to help us market our produce. Our produce not only the agriculture, the crops, but our students.
Mm-hmm.
We want to introduce our students to these people to offer internships.
Mm-hmm.
So these students are able to go out there and on internship programs and get acquainted with how things are done in the corporate world, so that by the time they leave, they'll have hands-on knowledge of what goes on there. And besides that, some of them will perhaps learn how businesses are developed, so that with the entrepreneurship skills that they acquire in the schools, they can say, well, if this guy was able to develop a program uh, starting with maybe a few dollars, where right now he is able to have a fishery program or a poultry program or a piggery, then maybe I can look at his example
Mm-hmm.
and go ahead and develop a similar program, and then the agricultural activity will continue to develop. So those are the three pillars of the program. Now, what are we doing in terms of encouraging the young people? The program offers scholarships. So, it is limited, but as I said, the scholarships are offered to. When we first started the program, it's a 4-year program in which the students get a full scholarship to enroll at Cottington. The Cottington as an entity because the private institution does have limitations in terms of keeping the cost down. So the cost for students there is somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,200 per semester. So the scholarship provides uh, that to students. The scholarship is to get a scholarship is a competitive thing where students apply, and then they are vetted, and then the best one are selected. The only part of the program that is good is that we also have a gender component, in which if you had a scholarship, 10 scholarships, and you decide to offer 10 scholarships, 5 to males and 5 to females, the the percentage of students, if you give it all to just across the board, more males will have GPAs of 3 point, the 3.0 GPA that is
Mm-hmm.
required to get it. So the women sometimes we start with a 2.75, right now we have a lot of ladies who are even getting uh,
3.0.
the 3.0 and higher, and they are competing well with it. As I said earlier, we have roughly a 50-50 ratio of male to female in the agricultural college, and I would say almost 1/3 of those students who are females are competing well with their male counterparts in terms of their Greek GPAs. They got 3.5, 3.7, 3.8. In fact, there was one lady in one of my classes who got a perfect A in my class, and she's already at her GPA is something like 3.8 and 5. So she's up there to get a almost the summa cum laude class. She's supposed to graduate this year, so we are hoping that we'll get a first summa cum laude female in
Amen.
agriculture. Last year, the agricultural students stopped the university when at the graduation, which is very good for us. But going back to the program, in terms of what we are doing, as I mentioned, we are there to inspire the students, give them hope, so that agriculture is not just a dirt thing. Agriculture is not just planting crops. There are so many aspects of agriculture. We are trying to teach them that, for instance, you could teach young people to become middlemen. Right now in Liberia, we don't have that middle level people who can help to preserve crops. Most of the people produce a lot of things, but somebody produces something in Grand Jide or Lofa or Sino or wherever finds it very difficult to ship it to the market. So we're trying to teach our students about entrepreneurship, so that maybe they in turn can look at uh, what can they do to have trucks refrigerator trucks that can preserve these things and take them to the market, even if they are not bought, how they can be used at a later date, all of that. So those are some of the skills and the things that we're trying to impart into our students. And to be frank, the students are very, very enthusiastic about that, and that is helping us to feel good that our program, the e-health program, and even the agriculture program, according to as a whole, is set for the good future.
Wow, this sounds real good, Doc. It sounds like because many times when we talk about Liberia, people only talk about politics and what's not happening or the ugly that's happening. But I believe what you just shared, for me, seated across from you, it is so exhilarating. It inspires hope. It says that our nation, has got hope because if you're able to feed your people, if you have young people motivated to go to the soil, to learn the different things you're talking about, how to become middleman, how to establish, businesses. Because I was at a program, we just had our anniversary, and the our honorary consul general remarked that you have all of these containers that are being shipped through the port of Savannah here in
Yes.
Georgia, taking things to Liberia on a continual basis. But they're all coming back returning empty. And so these young people that are being trained now into being, young entrepreneurs, all this kind of business, they will come up with the means to produce the kinds of products that the Western market would say is on par because they still ask for a certain standard. And then we can ship, because you take, for instance, pineapples.
Yes.
We have some of the best. I mean, look how huge they are. So can you imagine shipping back containers upon container loads of pineapples? What do we do with our mangoes? I know, I don't know how long it takes, but just talking about preservative, what can we do to preserve, most of what is used here? How can we preserve it and get it from there here at the standard where this society says, well, it fits our standard? And so just talking about having a program that had just 150 people in it, but now you have 600 and climbing, and the ratio is like 50-50. That's encouraging, and this is the kinds of things that we ought to be putting out there. So, brothers and sisters, everything that has to do with Liberia is not just politics. Yes, we need politicians that are good, that will have systems in place, law and order, structure and everything. But to tell you the truth, when Liberians are being equipped to take charge of their own destiny, in the sense that you're learning to work with your hands, to reproduce, to build businesses, to feed your people, I think that is powerful. And so, Doc, we just happy to have you here. Just tell us now about all that's happening, as much as you know, in other areas of education in Cottington, or just education in general in Liberia. How hopeful are you as an educator as well?
Well, as I said, Cottington University, being a private institution, has some challenges. People always think that education as a is it's not cheap. It is cheap. Education is not cheap. It is very expensive. But what you get out of the education at Cottington is something that we ought to be proud of, because right now Cottington is set to beside the agricultural program. We have the university has have a program in allied health. Now, what is allied health? Allied health is the component of almost like a nursing program, but it's beyond nursing, where they teach middle technicians, paramedics, and all of those things, radiologists, and people who can work in the lab. So help the health system. Like you know, in Liberia, we need about 300 doctors. There are only a handful of them. So we need people in between there who can assist the doctors. So Cottington, as an training institution, is set up. The program has already begun. We had an allied health program. So the nursing program is encompassed in the part of that program. The other part of the university, we also are doing areas in the museum at Cottington, which was once a prize museum, is now being revived. We are developing a program to actually the college, beside the agricultural college in the institution itself, is set to expand its production of agricultural activities on its own to become more sustainable rather than relying on student tuition to become more to create more opportunities for themselves to make jobs to provide funding rather than student tuition. And the other the other the other programs, I would say that despite the cost, the enrollment of CU, when I went to school at CU was 150. Right now, we have top something like 2,600 at one given time. This past semester, we had about 1,800 plus due to some circumstances that had to do with students not being able to get their fees paid on time and whatnot. But right now, registration is going on. We are hoping that we'll go top 2,000 plus. From 150 to 2,000, I think that's a good achievement. So Cardinal
Now,
does offer the opportunities for students, for parents to send their students there because they know the quality of education they are getting.
and do you have enough dormitory rooms, space for all of your students?
In fact, we do have more than enough space. The problem is we have had is that we have room to accommodate 800 to one.
Oh, go ahead.
We have room to accommodate over 1,000 students in the dormitory, but one third of our students are the ones that occupy the dormitories. The rest are they come from outside.
Okay, Doc, we'll stop and take a break, and after the break, we want to continue this conversation. And this show today breathes an air of hope, to us as a people group, as a nation, that all is not lost. That God is beginning to raise up people like you that are making a difference in the land, that are empowering the next generation to feed us. After the break, we'll come back. Would like to say welcome back to the Liberian Dream. And I have as my guest Dr. Charles A. Mulba from the Cuttington University. And he's really blessed us that all is not lost. Liberia has a glorious, glorious future. Our sweet land of liberty, by the grace of God, is well. And so Doc would like to say, welcome back again. And I just cut you loose to just tell us, some of what's happening. We want you to just continue because you're speaking to Liberians all around the world. Just tell them about, our nation and the hope that's there, especially in the area of education. Again, I said you at Cuttington, you've been there, you're sacrificing, but you're loving it. You came here to school, a PhD in soil science from LSU, well read. But you went back to make a difference. So we say welcome again.
Thank you. I'm back. Happy to be back. So I was talking earlier, the program at Cuttington University is blessed with the institution developing the young people to take over the mentorship of the institution. The program, they are sending people overseas, but all disciplines. The university has over uh, 7 colleges, and each of those colleges has opportunity to send people and get young people trained to come back and take over. As I mentioned earlier, we have the allied health program. We have people in the nursing field. We have people in the natural sciences who are doing masters and programs to go back and develop a program. And the good thing about it is that these young people, when they come back, they are so enthusiastic about helping their brothers and sisters to get to get equipped. For long, people have looked at Liberian students as not being uh, very astute, but we see that the few that are going to school now are showing that they can and can hold their own. Many of our students who have had the opportunity to graduate and go out to do master's programs have come back with the degree they went to earn, which is good because that means that we prepared them well. And then the institution as a whole is stepping up to set to become a pace setter in Liberia because some of the things that are going on at that institution where agriculture students now have tractors. They have equipment that they can use to practice. It's not just talking about it and using the hoe and cutlass. We have students in the nursing field who have the ability to have equipment who will be having X-ray machines and all of that to practice. So they have hands-on thing. We have students who are now able to go out there now, even some of our graduates who are now producing crops from the knowledge that they acquire and selling them. In fact, I have an example of a young one of our students who graduated a few years ago. Is now he produces lettuce. Now he takes to Monrovia. He gives them to the supermarket. And we had one young lady who is just in the ceiling business. This is just giving you an idea of some of the areas of agriculture. Now somebody can become just producing ceilings. These ceilings are then sold to other people to produce other crops. So these are some of the things the skills they are learning. As far as the tools that we are giving our students, at the agricultural college we have developed greenhouses where rain or shine, our students will be able to have a place to work, so that the rain season would not be an impediment to their learning. They will always have a place to go and learn. And the institution as a whole is, right now we are developing programs in which we will have all our intranet at the main campus that the students will have access to. The students are hopefully will be able to have passwords that they can go into the system, and that is something in the works. So we are looking at a way ahead, and much more than that, with partnership with our friends, what they are doing, because of the high cost of electricity or fuel consumption, we are looking at developing a solar power At the institution, maybe at the agricultural college, we'll start a small scale, but there are programs with alumni association, or they are helping to develop program or to have a solar that will service the student or resource center. They want to have a building where they will have banks of computers where all the materials, learning tools, resources will be placed. So they will have a 24-hour solar system that students will have access to learning. So there's much that students the university is providing, and that will help. Once the students have the resources that they need to learn, I think they will go ahead and putting all their time to learn, and most of them are doing just that.
Oh, this is incredible, Doc. We're really, really being blessed. I'd like to just salute you and all of the educators that are home and are making a difference. And now, because Cottington is a private institution and scholarships are being given, so who are the partners that are working with us?
Well, we the as I mentioned earlier, the our program, the USAID program, specifically is designed to help students in the agricultural sector. So USAID is one of our partners. Then we have the Liberian institutions, be it Ministry of Health. Before with NOCAL, when NOCAL functioned, they offer scholarships. We have the education, the Ministry of Education offers scholarships. We have different individuals. There are many, many individuals there. But much more than that, there are people overseas who offer scholarship. In fact, there is a scholarship program helped by people overseas in the diaspora who give money to the president, known as the President's Scholarship. That scholarship offers students anywhere from 50% tuition to full scholarships. And especially the President's scholarship program offers, as we for Bond County students, offer all valedictorians of their class of their schools free scholarship and entry into college. So they go there for 4 years and they get a free education. So those are some of the partners that we have, and I mean, more individuals also have scholarship, but the institution, Bond County program also have scholarships that they offer. The various districts have scholarship programs that they offer from the development fund that the different senators and representatives are paying. But one of the challenges that Kokondo has is that the students themselves sometimes have to cough up some of the money because the money coming from these scholarship sources are never forthcoming, and the student gets trapped. Time for a registration, they say you haven't paid your fees. When it's not their fault, the person who promised to pay hasn't paid, so the students are trapped. So those are some of the challenges. But be it what it is, there are a lot of people out there who are helping develop the minds, the young minds of Liberia, which are the precious jewels that we have. And if we develop them rightly, the country is bound to go forward.
So how much you said it costs again to educate a student on a yearly basis up at Cuttington?
Well, full time for 15 credits, which is the minimum you could take, it will cost you, if you are a day student, this way they got boarding and day students. If you are a day student anywhere, it will cost you about $600, $700 a semester. If you are living in a dormitory, let me just give you a breakdown. The dormitory fees is food is something like $280 because people have to eat. But to sleep, $50 per semester. So the total cost for that, you add up to about 300 and some odd dollars for that. Recently, they had to hype up the fee because the cost of food has gone up, in Liberia. So $700 can get somebody into the institution for a semester. $1,200 per student who wants to live in the dormitory and use all the amenities that we offer. So those are the costs associated with them. And those who got scholarship get full scholarship, so they don't have to worry. But their donors pay.
So do you want to make an appeal to Liberians that are scattered throughout our diaspora, in Canada, in Europe, in Asia, in Australia, in these United States, to really find ways to give back to not just the institution, but to give scholarships, whether partial or whole scholarships, to help educate young people, especially in the area of agriculture and the health, different health sciences that are being taught. Because I think that's important. We always talk about how, people always have to leave Liberia to go to Ghana or other places for health, related problems. And now that we're beginning to develop our own, I think instead of just talking in the Western world and criticizing, it's time for us to step up to the plate and see what we can do as well to make a difference. So, what would be the appeal or sale pitch that you would give to us?
Well, let me put it two ways. They, we have Friends of Liberia. There is an organization where you can contact them, Friends of Liberia, on the web and find them. And if you really want to make sure that you are giving funding to that will be used properly, that's one way to go. You pass it through that program. The other ones, I will appeal to alumni of the Cotton University to work with the Alumni Association. William Hare is the president. Most of them know he can uh, tell you how to get funding through them so that it is used rightly. But much more than that, I will ask all Liberians, be it who you are, whether you went to Cotton University or not, but whatever resources you can garner to give to Liberia to help educate the young people who are going to be the future leaders of that country will be highly welcome. Because one of the challenges we have is, as I said, the cost of education is very high, and funding coming from be a $50 donation or $10 donation per month to give to for Cottington fund drive or something like that can be very highly welcome. It will educate somebody that will help develop Liberia. So that I mean, we are appealing to everyone. I'm appealing to everyone who can through the Friends of Liberia, through Cottington University. If you want to find out, there is a website, cu.org. Cottington has a website. You go to just Google Cottington, you will be able to find a place how you can make donations. And most of the donations made in this country are also tax deductible through the Friends of Liberia site. So if you do make contributions, you know that you will get a tax credit for it.
Well, Doc, it's so great having you with us, and we're being blessed. I believe Liberians all around the world that are tuning into the Liberian Dream program are being encouraged this day that Cottington is beginning to do what you're doing right now in the area of agriculture. And our students are really excelling. Not just that, but they're enthusiastic about it. And so now, as they graduate, I know you're trying to help place them into different, different workplaces, like on-the-job training and everything. Uh, is there a bank in Liberia, for instance, where these young people that have graduated, with great ideas and proposals and need funding, maybe just $2,000, $3,000 to $5,000 to birth, their own business? Do we have those kinds of things with banks and everything that they're beginning to look
Well,
into that?
I don't want to look at it. Probably the banks would do that, but let me tell you, the program that we had, the eHealth program, has built within it what are called the Student Entrepreneurship Program. That is intended to give the students an opportunity to draw up business plans. Funding is made available to them to practice. For instance, if somebody wants to grow cabbage, want to grow tomatoes, whatever they have learned through their research, they are encouraged to get together, maybe one or two students or even more, to develop a business plan. And the program has funding, at least until 2017, to make available to the students
Oh, that's
as
great.
seed money
Okay.
to begin this kind of thing. But much more than that, what we have done, even with our graduates, we tell our graduates that if you graduate, you have graduated from our program in agriculture, and two or three of you get together, you want to do certain things, just develop a business plan. we will assist in you finding the initial capital to do that, to do the business. As I said, other students are going their own, are doing that on their own, but the funding is available. I'm sure somewhere along the line there will be, there was a time when there's a program, the FED program was giving students some funding based on a business plan. And that is what we're encouraging our students to do. We don't want to just graduate students are just going to go there and go looking around for jobs. We want them to leave with skills that they can go and become business agriculturists on their own, entrepreneurs on their own. That is what we are looking for. We don't believe that all the people we train will end up getting jobs. We don't want that. We want them to become people on their own to develop. So we are willing to give them initial capital to start with, and even I'm sure the university itself will, when the program does end, will still continue that kind of program where they can appeal to funding agencies to provide seed money, where students can then develop this business, but it must be based on a sound business plan. This is what we are teaching our students. They have to have cash inflow, cash outflow. If I give you $1,000, how much will you make in 6 months, 1 year? So that we could get that kind of flow. We may not make it, but like we look at that plan and say, oh, yes, this is a sound plan where you want to grow fish, you want to grow cabbage, you want to grow pigs or whatever, but you must be based on a sound business plan. So that is what we are imparting on our students, and we hope that they will take that seriously. And if the funding becomes available, even where the university will give the seed money, that is something very possible.
Well, for those of you who are just joining us, this is the Liberian Dream program, and we have as our special guest, and I use the word special, yes, Dr. Charles K. Moba from the Cuttington University up in Swakoko in Bong County, and he has been sharing with us some of the good news of what is being done at that institution in the area of agriculture, where he works. In fact, he's a graduate. He has his PhD in soil science from LSU University. His family lives here in Atlanta, Georgia. His darling wife, we call her Manzo. And his son happened to have been the past president of Lama, Mr. Leo Moba. This is his dad. Many of you have become acquainted with Leo. And so, Doc, is great having you. Now, I know you're not here for long. How much longer do you have in the States?
Well, I leave on the 2nd of May. I go back on the 2nd of May to back to work. Out here for just for vacation.
Okay, okay. But we like to say thanks for the sacrifice you make. Because your wife's health, sometime not too long ago wasn't so good. But you've been back and forth. So for not just to you, but for families that make these kinds of sacrifices, where one member of the family is in the West and one is back there, it's what we call suffer it to be suffer now, but we do appreciate the kinds of sacrifices that you people are making. And like I said, the show today says to us as Liberians throughout the world that we are a people of hope. All is not lost. Because many times when you talk of Africa, Liberia, all we talk about is politics and what's not working and corruption and greed and immorality. But when you talk about the excitement of young people, wanting to learn and they're going for it and the difference they're beginning to make, it says to us, the nation has hope. Our children happen to be our future. And so even those of us that are in the Western world that have children, what would you say to young Liberians that are here that are privileged and now have masters and PhD degrees and everything? How would you speak to them? Not just to move back overnight, but like people say, just like the Peace Corps program. What do you say? Because we have status already so they can come and go. What would you say to them?
But I will say this in light of that. When I was first approached in 2005 by then the president, Dr. Tokwa, to go back to Cuttington and ask my wife. She said, you can go. She said you can have him for 2 years. This was 2005. So I went and worked for 2.5 years and decided to, I looked at it. I said, well, I could go back and do a lot of things, but what will it benefit? Who will gain from what I do? I felt that it is very important whether you can do it for 1 year, 2 years, or the 10 years I have spent at Cuttington. Uh, if you have the opportunity to go even for a 6 weeks a year, even talking to people, giving seminar, anything that you know how you can empower students, give them hope, give them knowledge, that is highly welcome. Our students, we encourage everyone who has the opportunity to go back to Liberia, visit some of these institutions. If you even have money to give them, talk to them. Or if you can, find a way. If you give $50 donation for scholarship for few or one or two students, that will be highly appreciated. But I think it's incumbent upon all Liberians, wherever your level, if you can, go back to Liberia and offer what little help you can give, whether it's in words or in kind, it will be highly appreciated.
That is so good. That is so good. Fellow Liberians, our nation is blessed. And, you know, the era of agriculture, Doc, with the kind of land we have, the kinds of climate for growing things is like if you just drop seeds out there, you know, they just grow. There's no reason why we shouldn't be some of the healthiest people, well-fed people, because look at our rain circle. You know, it's like you don't have to practice irrigation almost. I mean, you still do that during the dry season and everything. But to see how we are blessed with good soil, with rain, it's like God has given us everything. Someone said when you look at the Liberian seal, there's only one thing missing in our seal. We have the wheelbarrow, you know, the time the sea was put together. We have the shovel and everything. Someone said the only thing that's missing on the seal are hands, you know, to work. You know, so look at our seal, you know. You'll see that hey, where are the hands to work the soil? But you're beginning to equip young people that are not just to go and look for jobs, but they're becoming visionaries. Young people that can go and create things, make things happen. Because the beauty about birthing your own is that someday, you know, as it grows, you want it to expand, you become creative, you become innovative. And so I just like to say thanks to you again to you and your wife, you know, Sis Zoe, for the sacrifices you people have made. And the fact that I know you feel so, you know, satisfied, fulfilled on the inside, that you have something to give back. Because that land, that nation has given a lot to you. And now you want to invest, you want to sow into the next generation. And so, are there any parting words you have for us as we're coming to a close? You know.
Well, as I said, it's a great opportunity to be able to share what I know, and there are lots of us out here in the world who wish we have had the opportunity. But I tell you this: as people, never give up thinking about helping others. When you decide to help others, you will get tenfold in return. I think desiring to help others in many ways is gratifying to you, and it's also going to enlighten your mind as a unit or part of the world in which you live. So helping is one of the things I will ask everyone to be part of.
Oh, that is so good. It's like what the Bible says in Luke 6:38, where Jesus said, "Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measures, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, shall men give into your bosom." I know the thanks and the praise and the appreciation that the young people give you all. You know, even the USAID program, you know, whatever means, you know, they're helping. But I believe they're also gratified to know that there are Liberians that are well trained, that are willing to go back, you know, in the midst of all that's been happening and make the necessary sacrifice. So, fellow Liberians, we've been listening to Dr. Charles K. Mulba from the Cuttington University College in Suakoko, Bong County. Again, Brother Charles, we'd like to say thanks for coming. We appreciate you. Thanks for the contribution you're making to our nation. I know that many of these young people are at the end of their training or when they establish businesses and they're doing real well, down the road, if God grace you with many more years, and they'll see this old man said, he made a difference in our lives. And so thanks again for the difference you're making. Thanks to your wife. Even your son has made a big difference here in Atlanta, Georgia, who served as Lama's president. Lama is now recognized and known almost all over the world where Liberians are. And so let's continue to work. Each of us has got something to do. Like Jesus said concerning the woman that anointed him, his burial, the disciples sharply criticized her, but Jesus said, leave her alone. She has done a beautiful thing. She has done what she could. She has anointed me for my burial. And so we say to every Liberian, instead of, criticizing, complaining, and condemning, it's time for us together to rise up collectively and sometimes even individually and start doing whatever we can to bless our nation, to cause our nation to become a little better, become a little bigger, to go a little further. And so we'd like to say thanks to everyone out there. We challenge you, Liberians, just call those websites again that Liberians can go to and contribute to these different programs. And just tell us as we close the different kinds of programs, especially the mid-level technicians, not just nurses, but radiologists and others that are being trained.
Yeah, the Allied Health program at Connington University is poised to produce the next level of technicians who can help the doctors in the wake of the lack of many doctors in the country. The nurses, they are there. And then we also have the agricultural program in which we are producing young men and women who can go out there and help develop. And if you want to help some of these people with funding, you can go to the Friends of Liberia site, and there's a place there where you can make donations that are tax deductible. You can go to the Connington University website where they will give you guidelines or a site with numbers where you can use to make contributions that also are tax deductible. Or if you want to also work with the Alumni Association of Connington University, headed by William Hare, you can also contact them and they will give you ways of how you can make your contributions to help Connington University and Liberia as a whole. It's not only Connington, but when we train people, we're not training them for one set of people, we're training them to help develop the nation of Liberia. And I'm proud to be part of that group, and I'll continue to work towards helping the young people of this wonderful land of Liberia build the nation that it's supposed to be and be the leader it has been.
We'd like to say thanks again to Dr. Charles Mulba for being with us, for really not just educating us, but informing us of some of the good things that are happening back home. Thank God we got good news today. All is not lost. So there's our theme song. I'll ask our dear producer to just close us with that theme song, the next 2-3 minutes, because what Dr. Mulba has just shared with us says to us, Liberia, you are lifted. You are rising again. You're taking your place again among the community of nations, not just in Africa, but among the community of nations. We just thank God. This is our day. I believe that the best for Liberia is yet to come. Our glory days are not behind us. I believe they are here and right ahead of us. Amen.
We prophesy to you.